discovered something recently. The finish that they put on Steyr rifles is a very satin, it's just a very slick, smooth satin finish. It's totally no gloss. And I've always liked it. I've got a Steyr, and I've always liked that finish and never have known how they got that like that. And recently I've come across the technique to do that with, and I'm very excited about it. I've got the stuff ordered. I'm going to be doing some practicing on other things before I actually offer it to my customers, but maybe here in the near future I'll be able to supply a really high quality satin finish on stocks. The only way I know how to do that now is to use a high gloss finish and then buff it down, cut it down with whatever abrasive polishing compound, buffing compound, anything like that to knock the gloss off of it. But this finish that I'm looking at, it just goes on that way. It's a two-part. It's kind of like epoxy in the fact that it has an accelerator to it. More later on that. I'm on my last pass, just barely skimming over it, just evening up everything. I probably skipped 5 or 6 passes between the last section and this. It's very redundant, very boring watching somebody else do this. To me, it's exciting doing it because every single line presents another challenge to do it right, not overrun it, not jump the track. But watching it, to me, I just don't see it as a spectator sport. Thank you very much. Anyway, once I get this done, I'll be ready to put my border on there. This cutter's about wore out. It just barely makes a scratch anymore. But I don't mind my border being a very fine line on that outer line. I'm okay with that. And a worn out cutter actually makes a smoother line than a real aggressive brand new. What amazes me is these laser checkering machines they have nowadays that make a line so fine. I think I need to approach that little point right there from the other direction and cut it that way. This wood is original to the piece, and it was made in Spain. So it's some sort of European, I don't even know if it's walnut. It's very soft, fairly soft, and it's also light colored. It's dark because they stained it dark. And then the refinisher, the owner, when he did the finish work on the buttstock, he refinished this also. So he's in charge of the color. The thing is, this wood is so soft that trying to clean this first course out with a checkering tool, it tends to wander. So I'm just going over each run with a veiner. And I'm also trying to even them up because some of the grooves are further apart than others, and I'm trying to, on each course that I clean out, I'm trying to split the difference to even them up a little bit. I don't know what I'm going to do to match the color. I'm probably going to put black and linseed oil in this, so black is black, right? and I'm hoping that that's going to make them closer than anything else, is to just darken them with the black linseed oil. They need to match. They really do. The front and the back need to match. Somebody asked me one time where I got this this checkering cradle, my swivel and locking system here, where I can rotate this thing and move it all around. I made this mostly myself. I had a machinist to make this ball. This is just a trailer hitch ball with a tightening collar on it and a bolt. But I didn't invent this. This is in Monty Kennedy's book on checkering and carving gun stocks, which I've had for 100 years. And I don't know which stock maker came up with this. It may have been Dale Goins, don't quote me on that. But anyway, he made his homemade, and I made this one homemade. When I first built this thing, from here up was all wood. All this right here, this was about a 3x3 oak beam that I put some holes in, slots, and then I put the ends on it, and where it would turn and swivel. All this was wood. Well, it was real clubby, and it didn't have very much range. It only went so far, you know, north and south, and then it just it just wasn't all that good of a setup. But it was all I could figure up in the early 80s when I first built it. I had a hernia. I had a triple hernia surgery one time, and I couldn't work much, and so I decided to switch all this out for wood. And all this right here is stainless steel. A friend of mine used to work at a factory, and whenever they got a piece of any kind of metal that was just extra or it was in the way or whatever, he took it home, and he had enough stainless to build a ship. And so I went out to his place, and this is 2-inch tube, and this is probably 3-inch tube that this fits inside of very well, and I welded these ears on it, and I put these tightening nuts on it to where the whole thing is all just homemade. Everything here, I just built it, and it works. This thing has ultimate sliding capacity end to end. This can slide and pivot 360 degrees this way, so can the tailstock. And so I couldn't, like I said, I couldn't work because of the surgery, but I could weld. And so I got up here and I did some cutting and some welding, and in about a day and a half I built this thing.